Who? Asked Officer Martinez as he looked back at Thomas. No one. I mean, an old friend of mine. But why would she be talking with my mom? Asked Thomas to himself. Maybe she was trying to get a hold of you. It is your phone. Maybe she wants to... Officer Martinez commented, but Thomas started to echo him out of his mind. He didn't care what Officer Martinez had to say. Thomas turned back around and headed back to the chair near his mom. Camilla and Mom did know each other from Brazil, Thomas thought, as his mind was rolling. I guess they could still talk to each other? Maybe Mom accidentally answered the phone? Maybe she didn't know who it was? Camilla knew I didn't have my phone, as I was messaging her from Danny's phone. So why would she call my phone? Was this purposeful? What is going on? Hey, kid, I have my charger. Why don't you charge your phone? You can finally get a hold of a family member or a friend to help you out here, stated Officer Rodriguez. As soon as the words left his mouth, a strange voice appeared. That won't be necessary. We are here to help. Officer Martinez and Officer Rodriguez immediately stood up and faced the door. Two men, one old and gray, the other young, pushed open the door and walked into the hospital room. Who are you? Asked Officer Martinez as he stood with his hand on his side piece. We are here for Thomas, replied the older gentleman. We are here to help. Officer Martinez and Officer Rodriguez walked over to the two gentlemen at the door. The two men opened their jackets to reveal a badge of some sort. The officers stood more at rest as they looked back at Thomas and back over to the visitors. The four men talked for a couple minutes before Officer Martinez and Officer Rodriguez turned around and walked back over to Thomas. They're here to help you, Thomas, said Officer Martinez. Our job here is done, but don't worry, you'll be safe. They work for the government. Officer Martinez and Officer Rodriguez said their goodbye to Thomas, shook the hand of the two men, and walked out the door. Thomas sat there, a little shaken back about what just happened. He sat there in silence. A little tremble came over him as they pulled two chairs towards Thomas and sat down. First of all, we are sorry about your mom, said the older man. I have known her for a long time. She is a fighter. I know she'll make it through all of this. You know my mom? Asked Thomas. Yes, and I know your dad, the man replied. My name is Agent Green. This is my partner, Agent Jones. I've known your family for a very long time. I even know you. Agent Jones here is just starting, but you will soon know him very well. Agent Jones leaned over and placed his hand on Thomas's shoulder. I got you. There's no need to worry. Thomas got a strange feeling as he looked at Agent Green, as if he knew him, as if they had met before, and before he could say anything, Agent Green jumped in. Yes, Thomas, we have met. Briefly. I picked you and your mom up from the airport when you landed in Sao Paulo. Now, let's call your dad. He's worried sick about you and your mom, said Agent Green. Call my dad? You have my dad's number? Asked Thomas in bewilderment. Of course. I have been with your dad since he was 15 years old, replied Agent Green, as he got his phone out, opened up his contacts, and found Tyler Moore. See? As he showed Thomas his phone. Agent Green pressed the FaceTime button, and a dial tone started. Thomas's heart began to beat faster and faster. Tears started to fill his eyes. He hadn't seen or heard from his dad in what felt like forever. Just then, a familiar voice sounded. Green, how is he? Asked Thomas's dad anxiously. He is fine. He is right here. Do you want to talk to him? Asked Agent Green. Yes, please put him on, replied Thomas's dad. Agent Green passed the phone over to Thomas. We will leave you two alone for a little bit. We will be just outside your door. Dad, Thomas shouted, where are you? I need you. Mom has been in an accident. Oh, little man, I know. I am so sorry I can't be there. I miss you so much. My heart hurts that I can't be there, replied Mr. Moore. Where are you? Why aren't you here? Asked Thomas a little angrily. Little man, I'm doing something very important. Something that will ultimately change the world if I don't learn more about it. Something is about to happen. Something catastrophic. Something biblical. And little man, you will be in charge to stopping it. So the more information I get, the more information I can solve, the better chance you and the other keepers will be able to act and save the world. But what about Mom? What about me? I'm all alone. I have no one. What am I to do? Yelled Thomas, who had never raised his voice to his father like he just did. Thomas, it's okay. Those two men who just walked through the door, those men will help, replied Thomas's dad. Those men work for the government. They also work for us. They work for you. They are assigned to you to make sure you have everything you need to be able to do the things you need to do. Agent Green, the old one, he has been assigned to me since I became a keeper. I've known him for 40 years. He has been by my side this entire time. He was there when I got married. He was there when you were born. He just works behind the scenes. He is known but not present. He will stay with Mom. He knows Mom. He cares for Mom like his own family. I wouldn't trust anyone but him in a time like this. And Agent Jones? Asked Thomas. He's yours. He's your agent. For the next 40 years, he'll be by your side. You better get to know him, because you may see more of him than you will us. Especially if what I'm studying comes true, replied his dad. Now listen, as soon as I figure this out, I will rush to see you and be with your mom. I promise. Is this thing more important than your own family? Said Thomas as his tone started to rise. Nothing is more important than you and your mom. But listen, little man, if I don't figure this out, there may be no more you and Mom. I think Mom would understand why I'm not there, exclaimed his dad. Now, go get Agent Green and Agent Jones. I need to say something to them. Thomas placed the phone on the table, stood up, and walked over to the door. You guys can come in. Dad has something to say. They walked in, sat back down, and positioned themselves near Thomas. First of all, thank you for being there. As you know, I wish I could be there, but I can't, said Thomas's dad as his head lowered. I really wish I could be there. I really do. We understand, interrupted Agent Green. We truly do. His dad raised his head. Green, I need you to stay with my wife. I need you to watch over her and keep me updated. From what I heard, I guess she's in a good place, all things considered. But keep me posted. If anything, I mean anything, should happen, call me immediately. Do you understand? Yes, sir, replied Agent Green. And Agent Jones, take care of Thomas. Take him home. Make sure he is okay. We'll be in touch as well. I know, technically, we don't work together, but for this time, I really need you to keep in touch with me. Can you do that? Asked Thomas's dad. Under these circumstances, I can do that. But once things change, I'm sorry, Mr. Moore. I work for Thomas, replied Agent Jones. I understand. Thank you, Agent Jones. And Thomas, I will call you later to make sure you are okay. I will be in more contact. I promise, little man, stated Thomas's dad. Okay, Dad, I love you. I love you too, Thomas, more than words. Thomas hung up the phone, wiped the tears from his cheek, looked at his mom, and back to the two strangers. I think you should go home, Thomas. Agent Jones will take you there and stay with you as long as you need. I will call Agent Jones often to make sure you are okay and update you on your mom. Are you okay with that? Asked Agent Green. I guess so, replied Thomas as he stood up and walked over to his mom. He gave her a gentle kiss on the forehead and walked over to Agent Jones. So, you work for me? Yes, sir, replied Agent Jones. It's been a long day. Why don't I take you home? Agent Green, I'll send a driver with everything you need for your stay. Thank you, Agent Jones, replied Agent Green. He then looked down at Thomas. I'll take care of your mom. Don't worry. Thomas nodded, looked at Agent Jones, and walked out of the room. The two of them silently walked down the hallway into the elevator and down to the parking garage. Which car is yours? Asked Thomas. See that Escalade right there? That's us, replied Agent Jones. Wow, just like the cars down in São Paulo, said Thomas. The two of them walked over to the car. Agent Jones opened the back seat for Thomas. After you, sir. Agent Jones entered the car and typed Thomas's address into the GPS. How do you know where I live? Asked Thomas curiously. Sir, I'm trained to know everything about you. That's my job, replied Agent Jones. This was the most uncomfortable drive of Thomas's life. He knew he was safe, as his dad knew everything about them, but it still felt unreal, a little strange. It was a quiet ride back to the house. Thomas just looked out the window at his surroundings that he knew and loved, but felt different all of a sudden. Agent Jones drove and played on his phone. When they pulled into the driveway, a car with their lights on was waiting for them. Food delivery, said the driver. Agent Jones walked up to the delivery man, paid for the food. So, that's what you were doing, said Thomas. I thought you were just playing Snake I.O. My job is to take care of you and think ahead. I figured you wanted some dinner, said Agent Jones. The two entered the home, walked into the kitchen, and placed the food on the island. I may know a lot about you, but I don't know your kitchen. Where are the plates and utensils?" "I got it," said Thomas. The two of them sat eating their dinner, not saying anything to one another until Thomas broke the silence. "So I guess you know who I am, don't you?" asked Thomas. "Yes, I know about you," replied Agent Jones. "What do you know?" said Thomas. "I'm not at liberty to say," replied Agent Jones. "Why?" asked Thomas. "Honestly, that is your world. I'm just here to ensure whatever you need to do is available to you. That's it. I don't ask questions. I just think ahead," said Agent Jones. "Well, I will tell you. I come from a family with powers. Now, I have the powers. My dad doesn't. There are 3 of us in this world. We are here to protect it. We've already done it once. Looks like we might have to do it again if my dad's right," said Thomas. "If that is the case, you just tell me what you need and I will make it happen," said Agent Jones. "Out of curiosity, how will you make it happen? You don't know what I need," exclaimed Thomas. "Well, you, have more money than anyone needs. My job is to use that money to buy, plan, create, or destroy anything you need. I'm your personal assistant, for lack of better words. You ask, I deliver, all the while making sure you are safe, so you can do your job as long as possible. So I guess I'm also your personal bodyguard," said Agent Jones. "I will live my life behind the scenes, your scenes. I will be keeping a close eye on you. I will act if I think you are in danger." "My personal assistant and personal bodyguard?" thought Thomas as he took a bite. "You said you have more money than anyone needs. How much are we talking?" asked Thomas. "Let me be clear. It's not my money. It's yours. I just have access to it in the event you need something, and I need to act." "My money? How much money do I have?" asked Thomas curiously. Agent Jones got his phone, opened an app, and showed Thomas. "Wow," thought Thomas with his jaw dropped. "That is a lot of zeros and a lot of commas."